SANDHAN, All Gujarat Integrated Classroom.
સેટેલાઇટના માધ્યમથી જોડતી કડી એટલે સંધાન.
Good afternoon, viewers. Today I am going to talk about one of the tragedies of the Bard of Avon, William Shakespeare. And the tragedy is Othello. The four great tragedies that Shakespeare has penned: King Lear, Othello, Macbeth. And King Lear, Othello, Macbeth, and today the presentation is on Othello. Before we talk about Othello, the question that is often asked is, what is the relevance of Shakespeare in the modern age? Well, the answer is that there are some universal truths which encompass the entire humanity. The principles that should guide our lives and the extraordinary poetry that we discover in the plays of William Shakespeare. It would be interesting to know that one of the B schools has selected Othello to be taught to the students of business management. The reason why Othello has been selected as our teaching course is this: that it offers lessons in organizational behavior, the different human feelings commonly seen in a highly competitive society, and especially in the corporate world, are beautifully explained in Othello. The human behavior and its traits, such as ego, jealousy, breach of trust, competition, and insatiable lust for power, the evil that is stalking us all around, love and hatred, angel and David, which also hover around us, all these things are to be found in this tragedy called Othello. And these are the things that one finds in life also. And that is the reason why Othello has been chosen by the faculty of the Business Management School in India. And they want their students to study Othello and learn about human behavior and the infinite variety of human feelings. Before we talk about Othello the play, we begin by paying tribute to the Bard of Avon, and that too in the words of his contemporary Ben Jonson. I quote, "Thou art a monument without a tomb, and art alive still, while thy book doth live, and we have wits to read and praise to give." In other words, so long as humanity survives, the plays of Shakespeare will continue to be read, acted on the stage, and will continue to inspire the humanity at large. What is so special about his plays in general, and especially his tragedies, is this: that they all carry the stamp of his individuality, the richness of association, technical virtuosity, and above all, the genius of imaginative power and the sheer poetry which characterizes most of his tragedies. When we talk about Othello, it would be worthwhile to talk about the nature of Shakespearean tragedy in general. During the period Shakespeare came to write his tragedies, his passion and thought, his humor and pathos, severity and tenderness are all there, and his imagination and creativity are at their peak. Tragedy is basically concerned with ruin and restoration of the soul and of the life of man. It is about struggle of good and evil in the world. On the other hand, the comedies are played upon the surface of life. The comedies portray the romantic world of lovers, the entanglements, and ultimately the resolution with all ends that ends well. Tragedies, on the other hand, explore the basic human instincts. When we talk about the tragedies of Shakespeare, we undertake a journey into the uncharted territories of human heart and human mind. It is here that we find the depth of human emotions, passions which are raging like a tornado into the human heart and the human mind. Shakespeare acts as our guide through the labyrinth of human mind and human heart. The turmoil within, the churning within, is there for all of us to see. Shakespeare holds a mirror to this churning, this turmoil takes place within the mind and heart of the people. This is what we find in his tragedies, whether it is King Lear, whether it is Macbeth, Othello, or Hamlet. He wrestles with the problems of life and death in his tragedies. Shakespeare doesn't offer us any solution. He says, it is all there for to see. I don't offer any solution to the problems of life. It is for you to find out whatever every play is worth for you to understand the meaning of life, the complexity of human nature, and the complexity of human relationships also. In other words, Shakespeare is a teacher who is a secular teacher. Shakespeare doesn't belong to any religion or faith or sect, but he is secular in his approach. And he says, life is like this. He acts as our guide, as I said, through the labyrinth of human life. And then he leaves us there for us to further explore and to understand. But one thing is certain, when we talk about his tragedies, we embark upon a journey of self-discovery and self-knowledge. And that makes him one of the greatest geniuses that the world has ever seen. Now coming to Othello, the play. Jealousy as has been said by many of the critics, is responsible for the downfall of the protagonist. And jealousy is one of the worst and most degrading of human passions. Here in the case of Othello, jealousy does exist, but it is unfounded jealousy. It is irrational, to say the least. Othello's fall is partly because he could not distinguish between appearance and reality. And this is one of the major themes in the plays of Shakespeare, especially the tragedies. That people are often deceived by what they see, the appearance. The reality is quite different. The world is oft deceived with ornament, said Shakespeare in one of his comedies. We are deceived by what we see. And this appearance and reality is a major theme in his tragedies. What is real and what is false. Othello's inability to distinguish truth from deceit, and that becomes a recipe for disaster, for his eventual ruin and downfall and death. Evil, as we see in these plays, especially the tragedies, is omnipotent, is extremely powerful, and it is the nature of evil to destroy what is good, what is beautiful, what is noble. And evil always disguises itself, as it happens in the case of Iago in Othello. Shakespeare explores the nature of evil, and Iago is incarnation of evil. He is evil incarnate. He is diabolic, and as Professor Wilson Knight has called him, he is a subterranean devil. It is difficult for Othello to fathom the depth of his intentions, and ultimately Othello falls prey to his machinations. Iago is coarse, he is crude. Love and other noble feelings are alien to him. He is not capable of giving or receiving love. The reason why he destroys Othello, he himself doesn't say it in so many words. He goes on hunting for motives, and Coleridge calls it motive hunting of motiveless malignity. As we have seen, he is a man who does not believe in receiving or giving love. And in one of his speeches, he says, "What is virtue? A fig. It is in ourselves that we are thus or thus. Our bodies are gardens, to the which our wills are gardeners, so that if we will plant nettles or sow lettuce, set hyssop and weed of thyme, supply it with one gender of hers, or distract it with many, either to have it sterile with idleness or manure with industry. Why, the power and corrigible authority of this lies in our wills. In other words, for Othello, will is supreme. And he says, we have to will it the way we want to will it. And if the balance of our lives had not one scale of reason to poise another of sensuality, the blood and baseness of our natures would conduct us to most preposterous conclusions. But we have reason to cool our raging motions, our carnal stings, our unbeaten lust, whereof I take this, that you call love to be a sect or scion. In this remarkable speech, one notices the evil mind, the evil genius working within him. And it is this attitude to what is good, to what is noble, to what is beautiful, which ultimately helps him to trap the gullible Othello. For him, virtue is a fig, it's nonsense. He doesn't believe in virtues and nobility of human mind or human soul. He doesn't believe in the beauty of life or beauty of existence. It's meaningless for him. And later on, what is love for him? And look at his words. I quote, "It is merely a lust of the blood and a permission of the will. Come, be a man.